All right, ladies and gentlemen, I come to you at this moment with my monologue for tonight, and this is centered around efforts on the ground by the ADF A-Gov-C to intimidate taxi drivers and car owners to change their colors, grandstanding for what they absolutely have no control over. This week, an alarming event unfolded in the streets of Bamenda as hoodlums, I will call, claiming allegiance to the Ambazonian Defense Forces, took to the streets, spraying bullets at taxis in a barbaric attempt to enforce a change in taxi color from the universal yellow to white and blue. This reckless and brutish exercise resulted in numerous injuries and the destruction of many taxis, some of which may never be operational again. This blatant act of violence and chaos is unequivocally condemned. Step forward to denounce these actions in the strongest of terms. Silence in the face of such atrocities makes one complicit, and at the end of the day, all will be painted with the same brush as collateral perpetrators. One must ask, why have the ADF fighters not shown such force and zeal against La République du Cameroon army? They have chosen to inflict misery upon innocent civilians, our own people. This misplaced brutality always serves to further complicate the lives of the very people they claim to protect and to free. To understand, ladies and gentlemen, the gravity of the situation, it is essential to recognize the significance of the yellow color for taxis. The choice of yellow as the standard color for taxis across the globe is not unique to Cameroon. This color did not originate from Cameroon or from France, not at all, from Chicago, but rather it has been adopted worldwide for its visibility and ease of identification. The ADF's attack on taxis and their demand for a color change from yellow to white and blue, Ambazonian colors, they say, have severe negative consequences. Should drivers comply with this demand, they would be subjecting themselves to arrest, extortion, and brutality at the hands of the La République du Cameroon's army. We all know that, which enforces the yellow color as the official standard. Additionally, changing the taxi color would necessitate a change for most private cars in white to avoid being mistaken for taxis. This would create confusion and impose unnecessary financial burdens on car owners. Moreover, the question of funding this forced change of color arises. A full body paint job for a car in La République du Cameroon costs at least 150,000 francs. Where are the drivers supposed to find the money for such a change? Many taxi drivers barely make enough to support their families, and this additional expense is beyond their means. It is unreasonable to expect them to bear this financial burden. The ADF's actions also raise serious questions about their priorities and motives. Why are they not directing their aggression and effort towards the real enemy, La République du Cameroon? Instead, they choose to burden and terrorize our own people, innocent civilians. The answer is clear. Their actions are misguided and counterproductive, serving only to alienate the very people they should be protecting. The position of this interim government on this matter, ladies and gentlemen, is unequivocal. The color of taxis will remain unchanged. Drivers and civilians alike must resist any attempts by the ADF to bully them or force them to this senseless change. Wherever these fighters appear and attempt to carry out such brutality, the people must stand together, report them or hand them over, offer them up for capture. Every civilian in Bamenda, in particular, must rise against anything ADF until they are entirely eradicated. Ambazonians must understand that the true fight for independence does not lie in terrorizing our own people, but the ADF's actions this week have only served to weaken our cause and inflict unnecessary suffering on innocent civilians, our own people. They will not be recognized as comrades in arms. They will be recognized as enemies. For now, they are enemies to the Ambazonian struggle, enemies to our peace, and enemies to the progress of the struggle. The interim government calls upon all fighters who are genuinely committed to the Ambazonian cause to distance themselves from the ADF and its heinous actions. This is not the time for internal conflict and misguided aggression. It has long been a well-known idea that the ADF and the AGOVC want to seek to project themselves as having some control over Bamenda. It may be a good idea. However, how about first and foremost expelling the invading La République du Cameroon soldiers before even contemplating such a claim? How about avoiding or protecting civilians, our own people, from that ego? Until they begin to fight La République du Cameroon and put the peace and the security of our own people first, all they do is mere vanity, empty bravado, and grandstanding. That is my monologue for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Nebat, let me bring you in to make a response to this monologue. You have listened to me, and I guess this is one of the points. This is one of the points that Kwame Mokong was making about the suffering of the people, and it is unfortunate that some of this suffering is coming from people that should be protecting our own people. I'd like to hear your thought on this, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Chris. I think a lot of the pains that our people are going through are self-inflicted. And we cannot afford to be inflicting those kinds of wounds on ourselves, especially when we know that the survival or the sustenance of our liberation movement depends on the civilians who unfortunately or unwittingly we are making the target of our excesses. The problem starts when, because I don't want to look at it as being caused by the ADF in general, in particular. I want to look at the principles within a liberation movement and how a gross violation of those principles could produce, could be counterproductive to the people's aspiration. Because right now, where we are standing, the people of the Southern Cameroons are tired and fed up, and they want to break away from La République du Cameroon. But anywhere you see people having a second thought, it is when things like this happen. And the result is because of egotism, the result is the fight for supremacy and other isms that are related to the self. So, but if the leaders in the liberation movement consulted with each other and agreed on a common strategy, there will be better thoughts. Some of these things will be well thought out and the process will be clearer. Because you cannot, without expelling the invader or the oppressor, start imposing this kind of harsh conditions on your people. If the leaders will sit down and agree on a number of things, they will see clearly that some moves are unworkable. They will see that certain moves are impracticable. For instance, the number of people we have lost in the process of collecting taxes is unspeakable. We have lost a lot of fighters in the process of who went out to collect taxes. But you cannot have La Republique collecting taxes and you're collecting taxes at the same time without relieving the people of La Republique's capacity to collect taxes. Because once you relieve La Republique, once you relieve our people of La Republique's capacity to collect taxes, they will pay their taxes naturally. Don't ask me further, because when the leaders sit down, we can have that kind of discussion. Now, Comrade Chris, one of the things that I want to point out so that I don't overflock this issue of selfishness that has beset our liberation movement. And I want to draw from the very recent example where we had a delegation that came to see leaders in our liberation movement, and they wanted to meet with individuals. And the leaders came together and delegated you, Comrade Chris, and another representative to speak on behalf of all leaders in the liberation movement. And the two of you did it extremely well. Without any bickering, without any fighting, without anybody trying to position himself that, oh no, we are the ones who sent them. You spoke on behalf of the people of Southern Cameroon. And there was no litigation, no case. I think that Southern Cameroonians need to learn to speak as one and to take decisions in a collegial manner, in a collective manner. And when they do that, such decisions will be well thought out. And anything that looks like abnormal in the decision-making process will be taken out so that the decisions that are taken will be in the best interest of our people. I believe in a united front. I believe in people working together, continually impracticable. What I know is that we cannot successfully collect taxes in the Southern Cameroons. We cannot successfully we are just going to offer our people for sacrifice. La Republique will slaughter them. La Republique will seize their cars. They are going to extort money from them, and the extortion that has happened in the last 63 years will continue. So unless we really want to put our people in harm's way, there are some decisions that we need to begin to rethink. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's get to Barrister Martin, because look at this before I come back to you.
Taxi, please no day. Taxi, please no day. Don't block the street. Any taxi, just come down. Shake, you know day. Shake, you know day. A camera doesn't have a pass. color, no one can. You know the brown white, they shake, you know they. You know the brown white, they shake, you know they. No one can. No one can. No brown white, no one can. They shake, you know they.
Barrister Martin, you look at the damage on your screen there that is being carried out by so-called fighters trying to enforce the change of their taxi color from yellow to black, to white and black.
This thing coming from the ground, it will turn into a power play, and it has turned into a power play. I said they will use the suffering of our people like every black legs is using and everybody to fight this policy. If you see, everybody is talking about the suffering of our people. People who want to make omelets without breaking eggs, that is what they are trying to do. But let's go back now to the history. Every policy which has come from elsewhere, whether good or bad.
Comrade, hold on with the policy. Let's not talk policy first. Let's talk about the idea itself. Let the people change their taxi colors from yellow to white. Let's talk about that. Is that a good idea?
The idea is, Chris, the idea is the policy. What is policy again more than idea?
All right, yeah, go on.
The idea is the policy. Yes. So first of all, people say, oh, yellow taxis are international color. I don't know who gave them this idea. Go into a country, even if you come out in UK, I don't hardly see me any yellow taxi. Go to the Middle East. I've been to Dubai, I've been to Qatar, I've been to Saudi Arabia, I've been to the whole Middle East. We hardly have yellow taxis. I've been to many countries. So this issue about yellow is an international taxi color, people in their imaginations.
No, you are not correct. You are not correct, comrade. Listen, I don't come and sit here to just tell stories. I do my research before I come here to tackle certain issues. Taxi became, yellow became the international color for taxi, not because every city or country adopted it, but it began in Chicago, and for its visibility, for the visibility of yellow, the rest of the world began to adopt it. Mumbai, Pakistan, and all those places, even here in the USA, I believe some cities in the UK, they use that. Europe, they use that. So it is not so, because the idea behind this thing.
I think I got you. I think I mistook what you thought. I thought you were saying that yellow taxi is what they are using in every country.
No. That's not the idea. That's not. But the fact is that it is the most popular color. And when
yellow is the most popular. We are talking that we are on the same page. Yellow is the most popular, but it's not the only color. So it is not
correct. In London, for example, you have your black taxis.
Let's go back to the issue of policy. Chris, this war has seen a lot of things that affected vehicles. In Bafut, they were carrying sand. The whole of Bamenda was being loaded with sand, where every truck owner, 20 tons, that is the main job. When this war started for more than 2 years, the road to go to Boom was blocked. Though the trucks could not work, they could not even go to the Batu side to carry sand. A lot of them went and started working in Yaoundé Douala. So this is not the first time that this war has done anything. How many people cried about the owners of those taxis and our people suffering? They've invested. One taxi is one tipper truck is costing 25 million to 30 million.
That is one. That is, comrade, that is one. If you have, do you know how many taxis are in Bamenda alone?
No, Chris, I'm giving you as examples. There are many trucks we're working in. The investment, one truck can buy how many taxis? What are we talking about?
No, it's not one. That's not a comparison. The comparison is not in the cost, but in what they are able to do. If you bring down 20 taxis or 50 taxis in Bamenda, you have changed the cost of transportation in Bamenda, because there will be a hike because of scarcity.
Any new policy, people always talk about the suffering of our people.
And what I'm saying, and I think that
let me finish, please. Let me finish. When the policy of Biafra Alliance was brought, I looked at it and said the policy had some benefits. I don't think the
It doesn't have any benefit,
they said,
comrade. Why? I don't
no, let
understand
me finish
how
now. I
you
was not
reason.
giving the
How does
benefit.
allying
Let me
with Biafra help us?
no.
You are
Please,
just giving Nigeria the reason to crush us,
no, they said they
to
will
seal
kill
their
our
border against
refugees.
us.
No, they said they will kill our refugees. No refugee was killed. The Biafra Alliance, if you know the thing that Akpo, that their prime minister and the rest are doing in Bakassi, each day you hear of 12 La Republic down,
And no,
9
and
La Republic down.
the alliance has nothing to do with that. The alliance was formed
How
with
do
an
you know? Are
inferior
you
faction of
Comrade Chris?
Biafra, not with Namdi Kano's faction, comrade.
Comrade Chris, if
Let's
you
bring it,
see
Dr. Neba. You were saying something here.
Well, I always insist on us looking at at principles that can help us as a movement and that can help our people mitigate their pain. Um, I think that one of the things that some of these measures have uh, 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 helped to achieve is to also make the enemy to disguise and live among our people. Because when you look at many of those cars that soldiers now use, most before whenever you saw an unmarked car, a car without a plate number, or a car with a chassis number, it was a military vehicle. But today, without number plates, everybody is moving around. The army moves around very freely, disguised as ordinary civilian vehicles. It is easy for them to know what is happening where and to go stalk our people and to get rid of them in due time. So what I still think is that um, if we are to progress in our liberation movement, we are supposed to sit down and look and maybe determine what our priorities are, and then structure them in such a way that we we know which comes first and which comes second. Because if we are sporadic, we are going to produce this kind of effect. Because when people start arguing, it is because there is no coordination. There is no coordination. Because if we had a clear coordination, we would decide together what we are going to do next and why we are going to do it. And we would take time to educate our people and inform them why this one is good. Because once you just issue a decision by fiat without explaining to the people, to change the color of your car is not the same as taking off your number plate. To take off your number plate requires just a screwdriver and you bend down, you do it. But to paint your car requires, especially if the car was initially yellow, they'll have to take off that yellow paint. They have to prime it and then they have to paint it. And that's not less than 120,000. So if you look at the economy of this change of color, it runs into hundreds of millions.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have the honor to introduce you to the President-elect of the General Assembly, His Excellency, Mr. Philemon Young. He will deliver some opening remarks, and after that, take your questions. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. There's just been an election. I have been elected President of the 79th session. I am not yet in place. I'm not yet working. So I look forward to this with a lot of enthusiasm. Thank you very much.
Monsieur le Président, félicitations pour votre élection. Au
Merci.
seul côté Cameroun Tribune, nous venons du Cameroun.
Oui.
Alors, Monsieur le Président, quel est le sentiment qui vous anime maintenant et vers qui vont vos premières paroles?
Enfin, je suis très content d'avoir été élu. Je remercie le chef de l'État qui a fait de moi un candidat. Je remercie le groupe africain et finalement tous les membres des Nations Unies, les États membres qui m'ont élu tout à l'heure. Merci.
Mr. President, Elaine Reyes with CGTN America, China Global Television Network. Your vision statement begins with unity in diversity. What perspective do you hope to bring from the African continent and in bringing African voices to your agenda as the 79th PGA?
Well, I say unity in diversity because diversity is a part of life, and all the nations are diverse. And I am convinced that through dialogue, through consensus, talking together and looking into the future all together, we can solve problems. That is what I mean by unity in diversity.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President-elect. Thank you.
Good morning, Ambazonia people. Especially in the Bunse, Maswin on the Bunse, Makwale Lang on the 10, or Damanchi at Ababatu, was on the 10. So, Bala Lebada Zuliauta, so Mark Wada, Bazwanka, or Bazwanka. Make a recovery high, go where the Kabazoha. And one of didn't know the Kabazoha, but I know of didn't know about Zumbo, so I never. So, Soja Wamba Kum Ki Hatches, and Soja was a Jacandium. Was it Jacandium? The Jabaraku who got the chair. So, Lualang, Unya for Manchiki. So, Makiba Kihale, ma problem over, but by the Manchik, by a Manchik, by no. So, the Liao Town, no train a Choni, Ungina Bay, Merkala, Unungina Bay, Unushe Bay, Naha, Nayomana. So, about Zoliao Tab, Number Liabum Mona, Bahai, last struggle, Mayaka and no, Kulali. Yeah. And Joba Sevilla Kulale, Baya Bear, Bazoha, over Zoma, Conchada Kuba, and Kate Jibber, Nuebing, Kayon say not Chachia.
Yeah, my kids say, Mamma to go out and go sit over, but to me, only Biachi. Marble Amara Kule, my Mabia. Makuna non Gajo, and Kunati and Chile Ajo. By any trial, Kunoa Konga and Baba. Kunobano, Kuno, Baka, Labago, Emerton Cook, Kuaka, or I would take a Yati, Kuyo Kukala, very simple. Cocky say, Lamanoa.
No, but I organize it. I don't